Today on Animal Outtakes,
why is acupuncture so important to these dogs?
We're learning about holistic care for our pets. Everything from acupuncture to food.
With a raw-based diet, you'll see him keep on going back and back and back, keep on licking up his bowl.
To a healthy mouth and gums.
So are you telling us that the dental, the teeth, are really the gateway to good health for the rest of your dog?
Exactly.
Welcome back to another episode of Animal Outtakes. Our pets are our best friends, and we do everything in our power to make sure that they are living a happy, healthy life.
Which is why she's been hiding loose cigars.
That's right. Besides, they stink up the place. Some owners even take a holistic approach with special diets and treatments for their dogs and cats.
Excuse me, can I get a little room?
What are you doing?
I want to set up my yoga mat. My vet says he wants me to work on my body and mind. Well, you got 1 out of 2. You're batting 500. Yeah, I'm going to be batting butterflies in a minute.
What's that pose called?
This is the seated twist. And this is the warrior. And this is the tree pose. I never knew you were so bendy. You're like a boneless chicken. I call this position the crowbar, because that's what I'm going to need to get out of it.
You just keep practicing, Lou. Today we're looking at some ways that you can care for your furry friend with their whole environment in mind.
We're so excited to be here with you today, Dr. Beth Brown at the West Coast Veterinarian Clinic. And here you practice 2 types of medicine. You practice the Western, which we're very familiar with, but you also practice the Eastern, the traditional Chinese medicine, the holistic approach. Tell us about both of them.
Holistic means treating the whole animal. And so we're treating the whole animal, its situation, its diet, its lifestyle, the interactions with the family in the house, everything about that animal and its environment. And holistic medicine is a basket, and Western medicine fits inside that basket because sometimes we need to have the immediate. You've got a broken bone, you need surgery. You know, you need to fix it. You've got acute trauma, you've got to go stop the bleeding. You've got to work with Western medicine, so that's a part of the whole. And then with in the toolbox or in that basket, you also have acupuncture, chiropractic, aromatherapy, energy medicine, herbal medicine, traditional Chinese medicine. There's just massage. There's just so many different things that are within that. People do come and they say, my dog is limping. And so in that case, I'm going to do the Western exam and may do the radiographs, try to identify what is the cause of the problem. And you always need to know the cause and the root. And in Chinese medicine, we go to a lot of traditional Chinese medicine when we don't have a Western cause or root. And then we have to start looking at how the energy is or is not flowing in the body. Maybe the energy is blocked and that's causing the pain. But a lot of them come in and they're coming in for their annual exam. And that's part of the holistic medicine, is just saying, what are they doing? How healthy are the teeth? How healthy is the skin? What is the diet? And we ask a lot of questions, and it takes a lot of time to try to ferret out exactly what we need to have from the owners. Are they prone to having, an upset stomach? Do they erp up a little bile? Do they cough? Do they sneeze? Do they have allergies? When does it happen? So we do that just on our regular exams.
Acupuncture is the process of stimulating parts of the anatomy by penetrating the skin with thin metallic needles. It's a technique that Dr. Brown and her colleagues at the West Coast Veterinarian Center employ regularly. Let's find out more about this approach. This is Lucy, a 10-year-old boxer who is experiencing some arthritic pain.
Nobody's immune from the aging changes, that's for sure. So she has heat and some spondylosis, we call, in her mid-back here, and that's just from lots of inflammation in the joints in this area. And she's had different effects as a result of that, right? She's had pain. And
Today, she's going to be receiving an acupuncture treatment from Dr. Maggie Voorhees at the West Coast Veterinarian Center in Sarasota.
And that's acupuncture. Dr. Voorhees, why is acupuncture so important to these dogs?
well, it's a great way of just keeping them healthy, for one thing, and it also helps them be pain-free as well. And especially for a dog like Lucy, who's older and she has quite a bit of time left in her life, and you know, we can help her to have a pain-free, comfortable existence with her problems.
Now, where do you find the most success with acupuncture? Is it with the arthritic patients? Do you do it for cancer treatments? Do you do it for the organs, to help the organs?
We do it for all types of things. You know, it can help improve organ function. It can help greatly with quality of life in cancer patients. And so I always recommend acupuncture for our cancer patients. And any type of pain, of course, acupuncture is very effective too. But, you know, I'm a proponent of using it in almost any condition. Okay, so usually when I do my treatments, I like to look over. I've seen Lucy before, of course, but I like to look them over just to see if they're the same type of pattern of disease that they have had in the past, if anything's changed. So I typically just, you know, do an exam. It's usually quite a lengthy exam. The most important is the tongue. Here we go. What a good girl. You are such a good girl.
Now, I know in traditional Chinese medicine, the tongue tells you just about everything.
It does tell you a lot.
Doesn't it? So is it the same for animals?
It's exactly the same. Yeah, we look for similar color changes, size changes in the tongue, and how much coating is on the tongue, you know. And the other thing we check is the pulse. And we do it a little different. In humans, they do it on the wrists. In dogs, we do it in the inside of the thighs.
After the exam is finished, it's time to begin the procedure.
I usually start with one on the head. This is one that usually will calm the animals down. It's right between the ears. And it helps to move the energy down the spine. Good girl, Lucy.
Now, she did not flinch at all, so that one didn't bother her.
They don't bother them very much, you know. As long as they hold still and don't tense up, they're usually very comfortable.
The needles used in acupuncture are very small gauge, meaning they're extremely thin, even more so than the ones used for regular vaccines. The needles are sterile and for one-time use. Every needle is brand new.
And then I do one down here, which helps with lower back issues. It kind of brings the energy down the spine and all the way down the spine and into the back of the leg. Okay, and so then our pain area is right here. And you can kind of almost appreciate the hunching of the spine that happens here. That's all part of the stagnation of the energy there. So I like to do some points above that and below it.
It takes Dr. Voorhees about 10 minutes to place the needles. About 10 in all.
Now, is there a particular number of needles that you put in? Does it vary from treatment to treatment?
Well, you know, there's lots of different ideas on that. There's some people that say that one needle, if you can do one needle, if you're really good and do one needle, it'll be enough. Now, there's other guidelines that say, you know, in a depleted animal, a weak animal, you should use fewer needles. I generally like to stay, you know, 10 to 12 needles max.
Once all the needles are in place, Lucy will have a 10 to 15 minute wait before they are removed, and then she can go home feeling much better.
So for humans and the animals, it's a good thing, huh?
It's a good thing. Yeah, it's great.
And still ahead on Animal Outtakes.
A raw-based diet is a biologically appropriate diet, which means if they are in the wild, that's exactly what they eat.
Why the raw food diet is all the rage. Plus dental care for your dog and cat. Oh, there's more to it than just fixing their bad breath. For thousands of years, we've been humans' best friend. You've been through a lot, and we've been right there with you. A dog is part of the family, a confidant, and a friend who always knows how to get into your heart. So what happens to our beloved companions when we can no longer care for them?
This is why we've created Dante's Den, an innovative, state-of-the-art facility that will provide care for up to 100 dogs.
Dante's Den is a community for joyful dogs.
Millions of Americans face uncertainty when planning for the future of beloved pets who may well outlive them. Dante's Den is a charitable organization, so in whatever capacity you can, please lend your support so that we may continue this most wonderful work.
Dante and I would like to thank you for watching and for also opening up your hearts to our wonderful community of joyful dogs.
Learn about the many ways you could become involved by visiting dantesden.org.
Another important aspect to holistic care for our pets is the food that we give them. At Holistic for Pets in Bradenton, there's quite a selection of healthy foods to choose from.
What is holistic, truly?
Well, holistic is the whole of food. It means that we're trying to use the whole parts that are going to be easy to digest for them. It's going to be a natural-based diet. A raw diet is the most biological diet for an animal, but there's other options out there in high-quality protein, grain-free based formulas.
As the idea of a more natural diet for our pets has grown, more and more companies have followed suit, coming up with better food options. But Kyle says there are a few ingredients you want to stay away from, no matter what.
The main thing I always tell people is try to stay away from the basics. No corn, no wheat, no soy, and no byproducts. At holistic-based stores, we usually try to focus on a little bit more than that, which that is a number one protein source as the number one ingredient, or going into more of an extended diet, which is a biologically appropriate based diet, which is a raw-based diet.
So Kyle, here we have a beef formula. It's a raw diet. If I opened up this package, what would I find?
They come in little nugget forms, and if you look on the back of the bag, it's going to break down the weight of your dog and exactly how many of the nuggets or the patties that you're going to feed your dog. So they make it really simple and convenient for you to feed a raw-based diet.
For years and years and years, we have fed dry dog food from major suppliers. You're advocating this. Give us the one reason we should consider this for our dogs.
Again, it's the most biologically appropriate diet for them. It's what they would eat in the wild. It's going to be the easiest for them to digest. They're going to get the best nutrients and vitamins from it. Their skin, their coat, their energy level, their excitement to eat is going to be amazing. They're just going to look at a bland bowl and just be disgusted by it.
So I just pulled this out of the freezer here. So when you want to give it to your dog, what do you do? Just pull it out and you thaw it out?
Do the same thing you would do with thawing out your meat. So I let the food properly thaw in the refrigerator overnight, and the next day I put them in a bowl. I always recommend using a stainless steel bowl, so you don't have to worry about any of the bacteria building up there. It's easier to clean than a lot of your plastic bowls. But just put it in the bowl, and watch your dog lap up and enjoy.
Not all raw diet foods are frozen. Some are freeze-dried or dehydrated, which require just a little water to rehydrate.
Which you can always rehydrate with water, or my favorite thing is goat's milk. But the thing I like to tell everybody is don't be scared, don't be nervous about the raw food. Raw food is regulated just like our food in the grocery store by the FDA. Dog food is actually allowed to 0% salmonella or bacteria before it hits the shelves.
Switching to a raw diet may seem daunting, but simply changing brands could make a big difference.
And it is good to give your dog a variety of diet. If you eat the same thing on a daily basis, that's when allergens can occur. So it's the best to give a variety of a diet, but try to stay in the same kind of family line. Try to just use different protein sources from a certain group of food, of a certain company of food that you initially buy.
When changing foods, a 7-day process is recommended, where you slowly incorporate in the new food with the old.
That's going to get the dog's body adjusted to the new proteins, the new minerals, and the vitamins, so he's going to be easy to break them down and consume and absorb everything.
So once you've decided to start on a healthier diet, what about those treats?
Well, obviously, if we're going to spend the time and money on feeding our dogs a good quality diet, we're also going to feed our dogs and cats a good healthy treat. The main things you want to focus about, again, is a meat-based treat that stays away from corn, wheat, or soy, a treat that is going to be small, easy digestible.
Another important thing to consider adding to your pet's diet is a probiotic. These supplements can help the stomach break down the food and absorb vital nutrients into the body.
You know, I try to tell people that there's a few things that your animal likes. He likes the attention and attention from its owner and to eat. So it's easy to provide them attention, you know, and it's not that hard to provide them a good quality diet.
Coming up next,
I'll say that 80% of our pets do great with no anesthesia.
dental cleanings while your dog is awake. The natural way of getting rid of plaque and tartar that's safe for your pet.
And now, here's Bud and Lou.
Yes, Marsha. Yes, Marsha. But we don't know anything about. All right, Marsha. Who is that? Well, that was. Who was that? Now listen, Marsha says we have to do something about holistic medicine this week. But we don't know anything about none of that stuff. I told her, and she does not care. Oh, I got such a headache. Okay, no problem. Let's do that acupuncture thing. No,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wait,
No.
Hold on.
Acupuncture.
No,
Let's do it.
Wait.
Okay, you be the stick E and I'll be the stick R.
Why do I get stuck being the stick E?
Because when you're the stick E, of course you're the one who gets stuck.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
And because I got the needles. Okay, now lay down.
Wait a minute. Those are knitting needles, you dope.
I ain't got no acupuncture needles.
Then you ain't gonna be sticking me.
Don't you want to get rid of your headache?
If I really want to get rid of a headache, I would have kept the window closed before you flew in.
Yeah, why do you have a window there anyway?
You know, Bud, you got no sense for the obvious. When it gets warm in here, I open the window. Hello?
Okay, well, how about these?
No, those are sewing needles.
Ah, you big baby. These?
Pine needles.
This?
Space needle.
Fine. Well, there's one thing I know I can stick you with. My bill.
You know, that's actually pretty reasonable.
And now it's time for the furry and famous Animal Outtakes VI Pets.
This is little Mo here, and Mo is a 5-year-old miniature schnauzer. He's very adaptable, playful, and just kind of the center of attention in our house. His full name is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, because he's German. It's a German breed, and so we call him Mo for short. Mo's day starts with his morning walk. He gets out around 7 o'clock and we take a walk on the golf course. He likes to play a little ball then in the morning, and then in the afternoon he takes another walk. Might play ball a little bit in the house and eats his dinner around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Any meal is a favorite meal for Mo. He inhales anything that you put in front of him. He does eat carrots. They're good for his teeth, and they're good for his head and his hearing and his eyes. And he does like them. You know, I would have to say he's mostly my wife's dog because she's here more with him than I am. I would say that the high point of his day is when he takes his walkie with me. He sleeps at the bottom of the bed most nights, but not every night. He can walk on his hind legs for about 3 feet without too much trouble at all. He does vertical jumps up in the air. He's very springy and acrobatic in that way. He's a great guy. I would recommend miniature schnauzers to anyone. First, they're beautiful animals. Their temperament is both affectionate and protective, but they're very adaptable. They're great around kids. They're amusing. They're very funny. This one has a terrier temperament. So I guess I'd have to say mostly their temperament. They're fun to be with, and they're great companions. We're a family that has always had animals around us. Dogs, cats, ferrets, horses. They bring us companionship. They make us laugh, and most of all, they bring love into our house. And I can't imagine not having one around.
Good dental health is important to our well-being. But our pets are no different. And like us, a good dental history begins at a young age.
We start when they're puppies, really gently, you know, and I usually like the gauze method. There's a gauze that you can wrap in your finger, and any kind of gauze, and you start by playing with their mouth and cleaning it at least once a week.
Dr. Jamie Gonzalez is a holistic veterinarian with Bear Creek Veterinarian Alternatives in Sarasota. There are different options when it comes to a dental cleaning, with anesthesia and without.
When do you use the anesthetic? When don't you?
We have to use the anesthetic when there's gingivitis, bleeding of the gums. There's a red line on the gums already, you know, and there's bleeding. There is an obvious discolored tooth. You have to use anesthetic because most likely you're going to have to take x-rays and see if that tooth is still alive. Or you need to refer to a specialist for a root canal or a cap.
The hope is, however, that it doesn't get to that point. Routine dental exams will help your veterinarian keep track of the buildup of plaque and tartar.
An exam should be done every 6 months to see how much they're building. You know, every pet is different. You know, especially on dry food and canned food, they build more plaque and tartar. It's like us eating Oreos or graham cookies. You will have cookie on your teeth. Okay, so that's what happens with usually kibble or canned food. And so if that's the case, then an exam every 6 months, you know, because they tend to build up pretty fast. Some of them, amazingly, other pets do not build. So an exam every 6 months is needed, and at that point in time, we can decide, you know, what kind of dental procedure has to be done.
Dr. Gonzalez says most pets don't fight back against the cleanings.
They are like when we have our children. They're moving in the chair, you know, but you don't sedate your child, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, to have x-rays done or to have, you know, a dental procedure done. They're very relaxed. You know, we hug them in a way with a towel, and they get treats in between. They're having their dentals cleaned. So, you know, you hug the little dog or a cat, and you pretty much clean the teeth. I'll say 80% of the pets just remain calm.
The whole procedure takes about a half an hour, including an exam ahead of time to make sure that there's no gingivitis or decayed teeth. Then it's time for the dental hygienist to take over.
They have infinite patience.
You'd
More
have
than
to.
I do, and I am a guy that has a lot of patience, but they have infinite patience, and they're very loving and compassionate, and it has to do with the energy. The animal feels calm, and that nothing is going to happen to him, and amazingly, I must say that I was skeptical, And until I let the dental hygienist come and do it on my own pets, I was taken aback. I was like, oh my gosh.
Good dental hygiene isn't just about bad breath. Bacteria in the mouth could be causing other health problems in your pet.
The gums absorb everything, from sugar to bacteria. And so when you have plaque and tartar in your teeth, it's harboring bacteria, okay, which your body every day absorbs. And so their little bodies absorb bacteria, fungus, everything from their mouth, and it sees in your heart, in your liver, and their kidneys. And it ages them really fast. Okay, you may notice a little bit of bad breath. You should look in there, plaque and tartar. You have bacteria. That is a mild infection that is going on.
Dr. Gonzalez says there are toothpaste, gels, and sprays that can help maintain your pet's teeth in between exams. But the importance of a regular exam and cleanings is paramount.
So are you telling us that the dentals, the teeth, are really the gateway to good health for the rest of your dog?
Exactly. Otherwise, your body's taxed, your liver has to work double, and so you need to have your teeth clean. That way you're detoxing every day.
And we'll be right back. Well, that's it for this episode of Animal Outtakes, and we hope that you've enjoyed learning about holistic care and how treatments like acupuncture can help our pets heal.
Are you kidding? I enjoyed it so much, I just had my first acupuncture treatment today.
I thought you had a holier-than-thou attitude.
Phew! Bud!
Did he really just say that?
Well, can a porcupine get acupuncture?
Maybe. Just leave it alone, Bud.
You know, I kind of like the holier-than-thou line now.
Join us again next week for another outstanding animal adventure.